One day I realized I could do with a small turntable to help me shooting and recording tiny parts in somewhat more interesting way. So I've done some research on what's available, and even though a helicopter most certainly looks cool, I may leave it for another day. I meant something more this kind of thing, which is often used in retail and for so-called 360 photos of products. That's more like it. Now, I could just order one from eBay and finish this video at this point, or I could think of using what I've got. It so just happens that I have been collecting parts from various devices, including an old printer. And I've got this odd piece which supposedly used to be part of the printer's paper feed. It consists of a tiny DC motor and few gears which slow down the rotational movement of the motor, which is the heart of what I need. The better suited part would be a synchronous motor often found in microwaves, as you hopefully seen in my previous video, but I decided I want to keep it portable, so the AC power from the wall is not an option. With a choice of axles and gears from the very same printer, I should be able to slow down the rotation even more. But for that I had to find the right fit, which turned out possible as some of the gears meshed perfectly. Now I needed few small pieces of steel axles to attach the gears to the base. Do I need to mention the rods are also found in a printer? So far it's all three parts repurposed, which is great. I also set myself a challenge to not use the 3D printer at all for this project. The axles required a bit of work, but after that they were perfect for what I need. I then drilled through the base of the mechanism and roughly attached the gears to test if they even move as I expected. It seemed to work. As you can see, because it used to be a part of some specific device, there will be loads of extra elements which will be removed and of course saved for future projects. Now, to add some support to it, I added a piece of wooden scrap cut to size so that the tiny axles stay in place. I'm also going to reuse this round piece of plywood for the base of my platform, which is just a leftover from other project. It's not meant to work with huge amount of forces, so I may not even need to glue them, as it's already quite a tight fit. I now needed to do some soldering so I can power the platform. This mechanism is in fact a bit more interesting than just a simple DC motor. It also contains an encoder which can be used to track the position of the motor, but I'm not going to reuse this feature today. Here I'm just giving it 5 volts to test if it's still working as expected. The next step is to attach the wooden platform to the last gear in line to transfer the rotational movement. I reckon 2 screws drilled through both of the elements should be enough for that kind of weight class. Now, to help with photos being more neutral, I added a bit of glossy white paper, which by the way also comes from the same device. It's simply the background of the scanner module. Carrying on with soldering job, I now made this primitive H bridge using an old double-throw, double-pole switch. This bridge design is commonly used in electronics to drive DC motors, but I'm now limiting it to just decide which way it rotates depending on the switch position. Always remember to add shrinking tubes before the soldering's done. It's one lesson I learned the hard way. With all the wirings done, it's time for a quick test. It seems to be working, but let's play around with it more, adding the platform base and adjust the first object I had in my sight. Initially I wanted it to be powered by a battery pack of sorts, but in the meantime I have found this old power bank and I realized it's even better way to go. Thus I'm reusing bits that would be otherwise lying around useless. Cutting a small USB cable to size is a bit of pain, but it's doable and worth it. And that's it, I'm not adding any sort of case to that device as it's only going to be used outside the camera scope. It works as expected, it does the job, and that was my goal. Now let's look at this magnificent high voltage capacitor simply rotating around. I hope you enjoyed that, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more interesting projects.